what is the most absurd reason you have seen somebody get fired or you have gotten fired from a job? And
Okay.
I've got one if you guys need to think for a minute.
I I've got one too. So at my most recent job that I just handed in my 2 weeks to last week, I there was this guy who was there for maybe a month, and he was part of the inventory team. So like my job was I would be in like shelves upon shelves, and I was on the second floor of this warehouse where there was just boxes, a plethora of boxes, and sometimes the inventory team would have to go up there and count all the pieces box by box, bin by bin, aisle by aisle, and this it was one of those times, and this guy was up there, and he was he was pretty cool. I guess I didn't really get to know him. But but one day he comes up to me and he's like, "Dude, I just handed in my 2 weeks, dude. I'm done here. You won't believe what just happened." And I'm like, "Tell me, let me know." So um, he starts. He's like, "Yeah, so I really, really, really had to go to the bathroom, and my boss wouldn't let me." And I'm like, uh, okay, go on. And so he was like, yeah, she's just a bitch and the C word and all this stuff, and she shouldn't be working here. And apparently they had this whole like intervention with HR because this guy, according to him, just wanted to go to the bathroom. Maybe he was taking excessive bathroom breaks during like production hours or whatever. But I don't know. But from his side of the story, he was like, "Yeah, all I wanted to do was go to the bathroom," and she was getting mad at me. That fat bitch, I can't believe it. And then he said that he had like recorded their whole like conversation about her like breaking down and crying and stuff with HR, and his last words to me on his last day were, "Dude, I'm gonna post this on TikTok and get famous. You just wait and see." Which I had never heard from him or saw any of that, so I guess that didn't happen. So yeah, I mean, that's probably the craziest reason I've seen people like, for example, at my hotel job who let me let me ask you guys if you've had this kind of similar thought process or know someone who has. At my hotel job, I don't think a single person besides me actually finished out their 2 weeks when they gave their 2 weeks notice. And there was this guy that I was working at my most recent job who was like, "I can't do my 2 weeks, dude. Like every job that I've ever done, I just can't do it. I will I will tell them I'm quitting, and that's it. That's my last day." And I'm like, "Well, all right. Well, to each his own, I guess." I mean, he's still gotten jobs, so whatever. But yeah, that's just something that I've noticed, and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, from what I've it's not it's not like an actual legal or responsibility to serve out to work for the 2 weeks. It's like a formal thing. The worst that can happen is when your next job calls for references, they could say he didn't stick around for his 2 weeks notice. Uh, that's funny. What about you, Scully? You got one? I've got one if you still need to think. Or you're welcome to go ahead.
It's not even an absurd one. It's just kind of like a shocking how it kind of just unfolded for him getting fired. Because like I work at a coffee shop, so it's like it basically his shifts are basically like randomized. So it's not like a 9 to 5. It's like you could be doing 7 to 3, 8 to 4, 5, those kind of shifts, midnight even. And this one shift I was working on midnight with the, and this was like 4 or 5 years ago, so it's like this is like a long. But basically, like during the nights, like like where I work, because it's only a small, basically. there's like only two people on back because like it's not really busy and there's not really need for like that much staff at night because it's not busy. And I don't recall exactly what happened or like how it escalated to that point. All I just remember is like hearing just like a loud like boom at at one of the walls at some point during the night, and it turns out I don't know if it was a customer got under his skin a bit, but what he told me was after he served her, he took the headset off and he just chucked it at a wall as fast and hard as he could. And needless to say, he was definitely fired after that. It's that's only it's not even absurd. It's just shocking. I was not even expecting it to happen. To be quite honest with you.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so mine. So I've mentioned on here before. I worked at an assisted living facility, a place where old people go to retire, basically. Um, and I worked the night shift, and I worked with like healthcare in general is like 90. I don't know the statistic. It's like 90% female. It's like a huge number is female. And so it stands to reason that with that, there's a lot of, I will say, without trying to sound too insensitive, needless female drama that I need not concern myself with, but somehow I would always get in the middle of it somehow. I don't know how. There were these, so the two girls I worked with on nights for like a year and a half, like we were the night shift. Like we basically ran the night shift on the nights we worked. Well, we did. It was just us three there. But we were known as like the main night shift people because the other nights there were people like it was always kind of weird. Like they would always have to find other people to fill in. But we always had these certain nights. And we were really good friends and we did all this stuff. We made it work because we worked really well together, I'll say. But unbeknownst to me, there was all this drama brewing between the day shift girls and the night shift girls. And on the day shift, there was this one girl who was the boss, or not the boss, but kind of like the main, like the boss's assistant, I will say. And she was a very spiteful, jealous person. And for whatever reason, she was really jealous of one of the girls I worked with. And it was like, and I remember just having my mind blown by some of the things that she would tell me because they actually had a class in college together at the same time. And they would be like best friends during class and they would like sit by each other and work together. And then like as soon as they were out of class, she would hear like this other girl saying all this, it's drama. It's just like needless drama that I wasn't even aware of. But anyways, it got like we worked together for a long time, but it started to get really strained at work. And this girl that I worked with, she would get called in and she would get chewed out for stuff that she didn't even have anything to do with. And what it really was this the boss's assistant was telling the boss that this girl was doing all this stuff that was wrong when she wasn't even there some of the nights. And anyways, and I know because I was there, like I witnessed what they were claiming happened and none of it ever happened, like abuse and like all this stuff. And it's like, no, that stuff never happened. But anyways, but the third girl, she was good, but she made a lot of when she was the med tech, so the one that deals with the medicine, she made a couple of mistakes and they had kind of like given her a hard time for it. But she made a couple, and so that one kind of makes sense. But anyways, so what the way it happened was I was already ready to quit. Like I had put in my 2 weeks notice. I was gonna do the 2 weeks, but then I get a text from one of these people, and they're like, I just got fired, and I'm like, what? Why? Because we were supposed to work the next 3 shifts together, and then I was done. And I was like, well, that's ridiculous. Like, I don't know who I'm going to work with now because they already are short staffed. I know it's a long story. I'm sorry. But And then I got a text like a couple of hours later from the other one, I didn't. We were in a group text, sorry. And the other one was like, dude, I just got fired. And I was like, are you kidding me? Because what that means is I'm going to be, and this was like literally, it was like an hour, maybe two before we were supposed to go into work. And what that means is I'm going to be doing all the work by myself, taking care of like 80 plus people all by myself because I know they're not going to have anyone in there. And I was pissed off. Like, first of all, I knew like that nothing wrong had happened with the one girl. The other one had maybe made a med error. So it may be understandable, but still, like, you got like, you don't just fire them on the spot for that. But anyways, after that, when I heard that, I got on my phone and I didn't call because it was like after hours. And I left my boss a message and I said, don't expect me to come in. If you're going to just start firing people left, right, and center, then I'm not going to come in and I'm not going to work for a company that does that to people that have put in a lot of hard work. So figure it out. And she didn't say anything to me. And I didn't go back in for my next 3 shifts. And yeah. But point is there, I don't know what happened. It was like this weird like rivalry between 2 girls that ended up getting the other 2 fired, and I just quit on the spot. But it was a weird place because it was run by primarily like 18 to 19-year-old girls that thought they knew what was going on in the world. But
That's crazy. I've never heard that like happen before.
it blew me away because the boss was so aloof from what was actually going on, and like she took her assistant's word for it that this is the stuff that was actually going on, and like they never gave her a reason. They just told her she was fired. Like I mean it's weird, but yeah.
Wow.
I mean, didn't super affect me because I was quitting anyways, but it felt really good to just be like, you know what, screw you, I'm not coming in. Like, if you're just gonna fire people that are actually good, like I grudgingly worked there, but this other girl was actually really good at her job and she excelled and she like helped out. She would stay late to do all this stuff, even though we'd been up all night. And so yeah, it was like a drama thing.
Yeah.